Over the past year, Baldur's Gate 3 has become a hotspot for insane challenge runs that push the game to the absolute limit of difficulty a challenge can possibly get. We've seen people beating the game without any actions, with only gnomes, and even without being seen. But today, I will attempt to push all of those challenges to the absolute hardest difficulty by beating the game solo, on honor mode, without any form of healing. This means any and all damage taken is permanent damage, and enemies are very easily able to damage me. This challenge is so hard that I am on my 17th playthrough, after over 3 months of recording. But can I beat the game and conquer the challenges that the game can throw at me, including killing the strongest enemies in the game, saving every Gondian and hostage, killing Gortash and Orin without them standing a chance, and maybe beating the whole game? Also, if you haven't seen the Act 1 and 2 video, make sure to go watch those videos, as prior viewing is essential. Let's quickly go over the rules. I cannot, during the entire course of the game, heal or be healed by anything, like potions, scrolls, or spells. However, any summons I have can be healed, so keeping potions in my inventory is allowed. To help you guys keep track of how much damage I've taken, I will have a small counter like the one on screen that will be updated whenever I take damage. This also means no resting of any kind unless it is forced, meaning no replenishing spell slots or other resources except at scripted sections. Since there are instances in my 17 playthroughs of footage where footage corrupted, I will include a message like the one on screen when you're seeing footage from a different playthrough or previous playthrough as placeholder footage for what is happening. My only other big rule is no mods, but exploits are allowed and necessary. After all, if you came here expecting regular non-cheesy turn-based combat, you've come to the wrong channel. But with all that in mind, will this challenge even be possible? Enjoy. Upon reaching Act 2, I came to the sudden realization that if I complete only Orin and Gortash, I could easily beat the game with plenty of health to spare. I took it upon myself to attempt a challenge to make the game much harder. I mean much harder. In order to fight the Netherbrain, I would need to gather every single ally that is not on a split ally choice path, like Jaheira or Baal, finish every companion quest arc, and if any of those ally quests fail, no forgiveness for me, and I have to fully restart. With that in mind, I already had 5 of the 24 possible allies: Zevlor, Arabella, the Koatoa Worshippers, Halsin, and the Owlbear Cup. Once reaching Rivington, I immediately went into the circus and collected some very important loot. But first, I importantly bought the Corvus token from Mattis. But, since I'm now on patch 7, and I need gold to get some of the allies, I equipped the Corvus token, and make sure to use stealth to get one of the rune powder barrels from the Iron Hand Gnomes. Then, I used the Corvus token to go into wild shape, and spam click the rune powder barrel from my hotbar. For some absurd reason, this causes the rune powder barrel to become bound to my character, similarly as a bound weapon, once we exit our wild shape. When trying to barter for it, it can't leave your inventory as it is bound, causing us to be able to take whatever we want from merchants. We use this trick to take a statue from Boney and take all the gold back. We also use this trick to take every single gold piece we can from every vendor in Rivington. Some upgrades to our items include the Swire's Sledboard for Force Conduit every turn, and finally, we say goodbye to the Giant Breaker crossbow and replace it with the Titan String bow. Because we have a Cloud Giant Strength potion active, this adds +8 to all of our damage with the bow, which will be massive throughout the whole video. We agree to take the Strange Ox into the city and skip the encounter with the Fists to enter Worm's Rock. Once in there, we pick up the Cloak of Displacement and some bombs from Danthalon, and from all the gold we've traded, we reach about 60,000 gold. We also make sure to upgrade our clothes, and now we're ready to bargain with Raphael. In order to get all the possible allies, he needs to die. But first, we accept his deal after reverse pickpocketing him 63,000 gold, plus a few more items. This will be essential for later. We talk to Voss, and though it doesn't show in the journal, that is our 6th ally obtained. Kind of. We easily fly over to Worm's Rock and head into the prisons to free Counselor Floric. The guards cannot even hit us, and they go down easily without us taking any damage. We free Floric and get our 7th ally on the list. This also gets us to level 11 and unlocks Stalker's Fury, allowing us to get an extra attack once per turn whenever we miss with an attack. We importantly speak with Mizora on the bridge first before talking to Gortash, where we accept his alliance. This skips Ravenguard being sent to the Iron Throne alive, which will make the encounter just a little bit easier. We enter Baldur's Gate with the Strange Ox, and it's very thankful, becoming our 8th ally. Afterwards, I immediately talk to Dammon, who sells the Legacy of the Masters, giving us +2 to all of our attack and damage rolls, before heading into Sorcerer's Sundries. Because of the bound rune powder barrel, I'm able to take basically all the scrolls that Roland has, and use this trick on every merchant to take all of their gold, which I will need again later. We speak to Lorroakan, and before leaving to tell the Night Song about him, we need to set up a favorable combat when combat breaks out. To accomplish this, I grabbed some rustic chests from the hostel, and used my cat's ability to meow to lure him and the elementals closer to the edge. And while they're near it, I use the boxes to block the Lorroakan and the air and water elementals in. We repeated this on the other side with Miklar and the fire elemental, and placed bombs next to them. For some reason, Crank and the earth elemental were unaffected. I return to speak with the Night Song, and she flies to confront him. I pre-buffed before the fight and summoned 2 elementals to help me. Lorroakan is very dangerous. If he's attacked and not killed in one hit, he will use Elemental Retort if any of the Myrmidons are alive. This will deal a ton of damage to us and likely instantly kill us. So he needs to die in one hit. Unfortunately, the cutscene teleports Lorroakan out of the box trap I set for him. The fight starts, and we have to make sure Roland survives or we fail. On my first turn, I use a Fire Chromatic Orb to detonate the bombs, killing 2 elementals, and use my normal attacks to kill Miklar. The fire elemental does get out. We drag the other bombs next to him and eliminate it and Lorroakan with our fire elemental. Night Song does get caught in the blast, but she does revive at the end of the encounter. The last 2 were very easy to deal with in comparison, and that gives us our 9th and 10th and 11th allies. Roland plus the Night Song plus Isabel, but Isabel's ability is useless. Moving on. We head into the Sorcerer's Vaults, and make sure to pick up the Diva Scroll and Artistry of War Scroll from the vaults, as well as everything that isn't nailed down before leaving. We head into the barracks, and speak to Laura to start the quest to save Vanra. For those of you who wanted a good playthrough, I am sorry, because in order to get every ally, you need to kill Laura. She is very easy to kill once we send her back to her house, and we speak to Captain Grizzly. On our way, we talk to Raj and drink the formula to make our blood explosive, since we can't burn, and our damage reduction causes it to deal no damage in the process. Auntie Ethel reveals herself, and we accept her deal to get her as an ally. That was very easy. We need to bring Shadowheart into our party, very briefly, and enter the House of Grief. We immediately let Viconia have Shadowheart, completing her quest and giving us our 13th ally, one I had never gotten prior to this run. Sorry, Shadowheart lovers. This nets enough XP for level 12. And already, we increased our constitution to 20, leaving us with 89 health left, with only one way to increase it that will be used later. We sneak into the Stone Lord hideout and summon Connor. Connor, find a safe path. Wonderful. Once inside, we attacked and over a few rounds killed everyone inside it without taking any damage because of our insane AC and us destroying the ladder. Minsc and Fake Jaheira aren't currently here yet, which is important for later. Our next stop is the counting house, and we convince the clerk to let us in. Once in the vaults, we confront Minsc, and surprise, it's an ambush. Most of the enemies have Sanctuary, and because my AC is so high, half of them did absolutely nothing, and the other half just attacked the guards. Eventually they lost their Sanctuary, and I was able to use many arrows of many targets to take out their unstoppable charges. One of them, however, stabs me for 13 damage through damage reduction before I have the good sense to focus the Reapers. Well, I'm eliminating all the ballists. Why not subscribe to the channel? It's completely free, helps me out a ton, and you can subscribe whenever you like. I like to ask partway into my videos, because by that point, you know if you want to subscribe or not. We're trying to hit 10k subs, and with your help, we can. Now back to the video. Raka does die before we're able to kill the rest of the enemies without getting hit again. That'll teach me to underestimate level 5 enemies. Now that Minsc has gone into the sewers, we bring Jaheira into our party. She isn't going to help us in the fight, but we need her alive to get Minsc on our side, and complete her quest. Combat begins, and because we destroyed the ladder unintentionally in the previous fight, Friel can't flee with the gold, and no one can reach us, so they do absolutely nothing. We kill the fake Jaheira, and Minsc jumps up to us, attempting to use Conjure Barrage. Thankfully, I have the good sense to use our Psionic Dominance to counter it. He's unable to do anything after that point, and we knock him out to complete Jaheira's quest by recruiting him. With that done, we head into the Guild Hall, where the civil war has broken out, between the Guild and the Zhentarim. But even without my help, they would have still killed the Zhents, and during the whole fight, they can't do any damage to us. This gives us the Guild as another ally. Okay, now it's time for a very challenging ally, Valeria. To begin the quest, we find the bloodstained parchment in Frank's house, which activates Delor. With his initiative bonus and alert feat, he will go before us. So we put Delor to sleep using an eye bite scroll to skip his first turn. One of the doppelgangers paralyzes two of my summons, and another kills my cat. The third ambushes me, and kills itself from burning, from me saving the savings throw against it. Delor is almost able to run away, but I use a Mind Blast to skip his turn again, and kill the others without taking any damage. On his corpse is the note that allows us to enter the Murder Tribunal. Now in any difficulty, Sarevok would be a cakewalk, but he has a legendary action that causes him to teleport next to an attacker whenever he's attacked, and attack them back. He is also one of the few enemies that can actually hit me, even with my high defense. So my first plan was to lure Sarevok into the abattoir, and block the passage out of it, with the help of this here wheelbarrow, and some more chests. In order to keep him in an area like a wall of fire, I used the other Quasit scroll to have it block Sarevok in with another chest. But then I tried to use Black Hole to group them all up, and Sarevok triggered his legendary action because apparently the game counted everything as an attack, and he hits me for 11 damage. This also immediately activates his Deathbringer's legacy. I use a Globe of Invulnerability and witness him miss his next 4 attacks before being able to break combat with him. Targeting him in combat would result in him getting a free hit on us, and Amalessim's Ghost keeps sanctuarying him, meaning half the time I couldn't even attack him. But I had a plan to deal with her as well. I had already been to the fireworks shop to buy all the fireworks and explosives I could, and position him next to him because he was still unable to re-enter the abattoir and would not move from this one spot in the corner. The explosion did absolutely nothing to him, but it killed Amalessim's Ghost, and the buff it gives him is useless if he can't hit me. For some reason, all the ghosts also disappeared, but hey, I'm not complaining. The biggest problem was Sarevok's legendary action, so I positioned myself in an area where the ghosts who could give him haste couldn't path to us, and placed a Globe of Invulnerability. Sarevok himself would walk into the globe every turn, so our strategy became pretty clear. Shove him to bait out the legendary action, then throw him out of the globe, and use our second attack to shoot him. This also added ability drain, making it harder for him to hit us, even though we were invincible anyway. After a few rounds of repeating this, eventually Ylsera flew up to us and hasted Sarevok, forcing us to kill her, which buffed him even more. It took us 10 rounds of throwing and shooting Sarevok, and 4 globes of invulnerability, before we finally kill him and the final ghost. Would you believe me if I told you that was one of the easier allies to get in the game? After Sarevok, we had taken 71 damage, and we needed an upgrade. After getting a beautiful Togriff from Figaro, we also equipped the Helm of the Berserker, which adds +2 to attack rolls against injured creatures, and would do extra damage when we are not at full health. Very convenient. This would be very inconvenient later. But while I was using the trick to take all of Helsik's items and improve her attitude, I realized I had gained a condition. This condition, when near Helsik, allows us to do an extra 66 piercing damage with all of our attacks. Normally, this is supposed to apply to the Imps and Minotaurs if you fight her, but I realized Helsik is going to help us beat the game. How are we going to accomplish this, you might ask? Well, we can use Helsik as an improvised weapon and fast travel while carrying her, allowing us to take her along with us. We can also use her as an improvised weapon and cancel it along the way to prevent her from going hostile. Using this trick, we take her down to the docks and test out our improved damage on the thugs trying to kill Volo, and are easily able to kill them with the buff and save him. Now that we have a way to deal very high damage, we head towards the Temple of Baal, and using invisibility, skip past every fight and unlock the waypoint so we can kidnap Helsik and slowly bring her into the temple. Like Sarevok, Orin has the same legendary action to teleport and get a free attack. Her going into her Slayer form is bad as well, because she will attack us if we attack her, and if we don't attack her, a condition will be placed on us, forcing us to kill a creature or we die. So, we need to use greater invisibility to not get brought into combat. I severely underestimated how much damage Helsik allows us to do, and in only 4 hits, we kill Orin before combat even starts. The others try to attack us, and any boss we hit is basically an instant kill, thanks to Call the Weak. Half of them just pass their turns, and can't hit us with anything. The Death's Heads goes down, and after another round of the others passing their turns, we kill the last one with a smoke powder arrow. Baal appears, and we ultimately refuse his blessing. This does not kill us, despite what many people would say about the cutscene, as it doesn't change our health total, and we obtain the second Netherstone and another ally in Jaheira. We head back to Worm's Rock and form an alliance with Gortash before we take down the Steel Watch. Importantly, before we leave, we take all the merchant's gold and reverse pickpocket 56,000 gold into Gortash's inventory, which will be very crucial for later. Is it excessive? Yes. Then we head back to Baldur's Gate and enter Flim Cargo, paying off Red Hammer to let us use a submarine to reach the Iron Throne. Because Gortash is already at the Morphic Pool, we don't anger him and are able to dock at the Iron Throne. Yeah, remember how I said Valeria is far from the hardest ally to get? In order to save the Gondians and get them as an ally, we have to save every single hostage in the Iron Throne in 5 turns. And we're solo, which makes this challenge that parties of 4 have a hard time doing into a single attempt nightmare, because if any of them die, aren't rescued, or bug out, I can't get the Gondians as an ally. I made sure to grab the haste helm and use a scroll of haste on myself before entering with as many summons as I could get at once. Thanks to prior testing and calculations, yes, I did do calculations for an encounter, I found out that every hostage in the far areas needs at least 3 turns of running to escape. So, summons are going to be very crucial. I have an air elemental, drink a haste potion, and its gushing air ability to open the 2 closest cells, while using the other action to weaken the champion. The turn comes to me, and using click heals and haste, I eliminate the 3 Sahuagin in the north corridor with 2 attacks. Then, by repeatedly flying, I'm able to free the 6 prisoners in the north, fly to the west wing to kill another Sahuagin, and fly south next to the hostage in the chair. I already had a nice Mephit, hasted from a speed potion, open the cell of the other south prisoner, leaving just the west hostages, the one in the chair, and a dead Raven Guard. He is dead because we didn't speak to Mizora. Thankfully, another ice Mephit, hasted, used a chromatic orb to open the cell with the western hostages. With that, almost all the prisoners are on their feet and running. The second round comes around, and I free the final trapped prisoner, and kill the 3 Sahuagin that spawned with a multi-shot arrow. We also open the cell with Raven Guard's corpse to progress the quest. Now all of the Gondians are out of their cell blocks and running for dear life. Also, all the Sahuagin, save one a distance from the hostages, are also dead. So, we use the air elemental to lock the south door after the wound urge flew in the direction of Omelium. I thought I would have to lockpick the door, but nope, you can just fly over it. We save Omelium, and his teleport ability allows us to get back to the ship. With 2 turns left, the hostages' movement speed put them blocking the top of the ladder so no one else could use it. With Omelium helping clear the way, all the hostages made it into the submarine on the last round. We have saved everyone in the Iron Throne, and we were on track to get 4 allies. Now, we just need to save every Gondian in the Steel Watch Foundry, solo, in honor mode, in 1 try. The haste did bug the game, so for a while I have the can't control incapacitated on my screen. We head over to the Steel Watch Foundry and make sure to take Helsik with us, as we need the damage buff for the first fight. The fight with the Bay Knights on the upper floor starts off great, as we use 2 arrows of many targets to eliminate both Black Gauntlets, who have spells that can easily destroy us. Thankfully, the Gondians were very smart with their spell usage, and we just had 3 enemies left at the start of the second round. But the consoles quickly reminded me why I need to be careful, as they dropped one of the Gondians to 30 HP in 1 turn. The Gondians are very helpful, and we're able to deactivate the motivators with basically no enemies there to stop us. Without any damage taken, the first fight is easily won, with a few more arrows dealing upwards of 70 damage each, but the second fight had the potential to be catastrophic. I used the opportunity to stock up on Chain Lightning Scrolls and many target arrows, and get as many summons as possible before descending into the Forge level. There are 5 Gondians and 13 enemies who can decimate the Gondians in as little as a turn. We make sure to haste before entering and assess the situation. In order to make sure the Gondians are safe, we have to get as many Bay Knights as possible dead in 1 turn. To do this, we fly down close to them and use a Mind Blast to rob some of them of their turns. Using 3 multi-shot arrows, coated with Carbazon's poison, we are able to paralyze both Iron Consoles, even though one missed every target. Timing is everything, and there are 3 motivators that all have to be shut down. If reduced to under half HP or killed, a Black Gauntlet will activate the motivator, each of which requires an action to disable, and will use previous actions I have to help Gondians. The first set of multi-shot arrows caused Endora to go below half HP and activate her motivator, while the others had enough health to not trigger it. On my next turn, I used 2 more multi-shot arrows to paralyze 2 Fists of Bane, and accidentally hit a dominated Gondian, almost killing him. My elemental killed the second Black Gauntlet, while the Gondians finished the few remaining weak enemies. I deactivated the second motivator, and used a chain lightning to blast the Watchers. The Watchers were using Hellfire Exhaust, which was inches from killing one of the Gondians. But, by dropping health potions on the Hellfire next to them, the potions would break, healing the Gondians. This allowed me to keep them barely alive. I mean barely. Both Watchers were about at half HP, and we used the last health potions I had to keep Grindo alive, because I didn't think to bring more, because I didn't think I would need them, because I can't use them. In order to slow down the Watchers, I used a black hole, and the Gondians from up high dropped one of the Watchers down low enough to use self-detonation. To make sure none of the Gondians got too close, I used 2 scrolls of Dimension Door to transport them to safety, and ended my turn. Do you remember when I said the Berserker Helm that gives me bonuses to attack but deals damage to me if I don't attack? Well, because I didn't attack, I took 1 damage from the helm. The first Watcher blew up with no casualties, and after black holing down the second one, we were easily able to blow it up, and every Gondian survived. As much as I felt like celebrating from the fight, and I did by the way, let's go! We still have the Neurocitor fight to beat in order to finish the quest to save the Gondians, and Xander is smart enough to stay behind. Before we lose control of him, we make sure to have him hide, and place some boxes to hide him from the Titan. Now remember those chests I grabbed from the basement and the hostel? In order to beat this fight, there is a way to cheese it. By placing the chests just in front of the door, on the other side of it, and summoning Connor, we can repeatedly use him to lure the Steel Watchers closer to bring me into combat. Connor is quickly killed, but the Steel Watchers can't open the door or damage the chests. On my turn, I simply open the door, take a shot at the Titan for stacks of ability drain, close the door, and hide, which causes the Steel Watchers to pass their turns. Because the ranged Steel Watchers are out of range of my ranged attacks, and I need to take them out, I use Scrolls of Chain Lightning to hit them and the Titan. After 4 scrolls, the Steel Watchers all self-detonate, leaving me and the Titan. Every turn, I'm able to stack ability drain and easily avoid damage. That is until the Titan goes into Bulwark mode for the second time and uses Repelling Protocol, which I guess goes through walls and doors, and hits me for another 1 thunder damage. Even when it's not hiding, the Titan can't destroy the chests, and it's already too late for it. It activates its self-destruct protocol, and I grab the chests before running away, in time for it to explode. We give Xander the go-ahead to destroy the Foundry, and we completed one of the hardest quests ever, and the most annoying from some people's point of view. Wilburn shows up, trying to get us to kill the Gondians, but after this, I have a sudden respect for them, and I think Barkus is a way better leader, allowing us to get 2 allies, including the Gondians, a completely new ally that is by far the hardest to get. This leaves just 6 allies left, but now that all of these locations are unreachable by waypoints, I made the decision to kill Helsik in 1 hit. Our next target is Cazador. We flew past the guards and lockpicked the door to enter the ramparts. To enter the ballroom, we needed 2 things, the dictionary and the signet ring. We easily destroy a skeleton in 1 turn and claim the ring needed to enter. But the dictionary is in a room with a necrotic corpse. We can break open the door easily, but we have no real way of getting in or removing the curse, as both would cause me to step in it and take damage. I can summon Connor to reach the wardrobe, where it is, but I can't open it, and neither can he. Thankfully, Connor can destroy the cabinet and drag the book through the necrosis aura, which took a few Connors, but eventually got it, and we were able to enter the ballroom. We also had Connor drag the chest with the Helm of Grit in it out of the room, so we could get it for later use. The enemies in the ballroom don't even attempt to attack me because of my insane armor class, and with a cloud kill, we are easily able to win. But first, I went back to the fireworks shop and went to the top to light the smoke powder barrels up to blow most of the bayonites up, so that I wouldn't take damage from it. By using the hole in the wall, I'm able to eliminate all the enemies from the top floor, but while waiting for Avery and the guards to charge up to me, I ended my turn without attacking, and once again, took 1 damage from the Berserker Helm. Jeez, I gotta remember about that. After the guards were dead, I grabbed every firework box and barrel I could before heading to Cazador's mansion. After descending into the dungeon, I only just began to realize how hard the fight against Cazador would be. He has an aura that deals damage to anyone while in mist form, so fighting him regularly is clearly not an option, as he can easily reach me with his movement speed. I think you know where this is going. I went back to camp and grabbed some of the firework boxes and smoke powder bombs that I had been saving up. I set them up around Cazador, thanks to this small area where no enemy is looking at me. And once I was a safe distance away, I shot a firework not just to destroy Cazador, but my FPS as well. I also destroyed Cazador here, that way I wouldn't potentially get demonetized from, Moving on. I ran back up the stairs to get the other enemies to follow me, and easily outpaced them over several turns, managing to kill all of them. Once the fight was won, without any more damage taken, we killed Cazador and destroyed all of the vampire spawn, the easiest way to get the Gur allies. We convinced the Gur that the children turned into vampires and there was nothing we could do but put them out of their misery. This allowed us to get them as an ally, leaving only 5 left. We gathered everything we needed and returned to the Devil's Fee to complete the ritual and open the portal to Hell. We are here for our contract and 2 allies. In order to get access to our contract, we need to kill Harlep. And because he ducks away every time he's damaged, we need to stop him from getting his reactions. We summon Connor, and with the Helm of Arcane Acuity, hit Connor multiple times to increase our spell save DC up to 27, over a couple of Connors. Using this, I flushed a stone Harlep and start a fight with him. While preparing for the imps, I accidentally cast another concentration spell before hasting, and flushed a stone Harlep again. The imps arrive, and initially weren't able to hit me at all. That was until an imp critted me for 12 damage, which is a 1 in 400 chance of happening. Harlep was unable to do anything, giving us time to take out all of the imps using multi-shot and smoke powder arrows. We eventually take out Harlep after he's basically fully transformed into stone to obtain the passphrase to access our contract. We interact with the control gem to activate it and fail the second check, causing it to blast us back. It doesn't deal any damage or anger the debtors. So I tried again and again in a Groundhog Day style of events, allowing us to open it eventually and get Mole's contract, and a few other items. We enter the archive and tear the contract in half, causing Raphael to get really mad at us. We also grab the Amulet of Health, which we will need for later. Using invisibility to skip the debtors and hell spheres, we enter the prison through the side entrance. Now there have been many bosses that have been challenging, but this time, in order to free Hope, I would have to face not 1 boss with legendary actions, but 2. Spectator abilities also don't require attack rolls, meaning that if any of them get a turn, they can damage me. There are also 5 imps that have Repelling Blast. But from the side entrance, enemies don't attack me if they're shot, as it requires jumping or flying to reach my position. Using my insane stealth as a gnome, I eliminate the first spectator easily. And even if I fail my stealth check, I go first and can just exit through the back entrance to break combat. One of the hardest fights in the game was trivialized, allowing us to free Hope. Before taking out Raphael, I needed to equip Rhapsody and kill a few debtors for stacks of Scarlet Ornaments. For some reason, the stacks stay if you send Rhapsody to camp from your inventory. I can't quite say why it worked, maybe because my game was struggling and certain things broke the game and my recordings. We head into the antechamber and equip the Twist of Fortune. I think you know why. I summoned in every summon I could to stop the Cambions from targeting Hope or Yrgir. I am able to get Yrgir from my side since I helped him out in Act 2. He takes his turn first, and I use the guaranteed crit from Scarlet Feast before using Blood Money from the Morning Star on Raphael, which, because he had 63,000 gold in his inventory, instantly kills him, causing the Cambions to lose their damage buff. The Cambions target my summons, killing both Mephits and Scratch. I use some of my last multi-shot arrows to weaken the Cambions and kill Corilla. Thanks to Hope using her Revoke Guest Status ability, and Yrgir's stealthing enemies, we are able to slowly take out the Cambions. The fight is easily won after about 5 rounds of combat. With Raphael dead and Yrgir on our team, we return to Mole and give her the contract, without telling her that I killed Raphael, to get her as another ally. We travel back to Worm's Rock and speak to Mazora, who offers us a deal to save Ravengard, despite him already being dead. Because I had gone to the Iron Throne first, talking to her for some reason causes the screen to fade to black and the cutscene with Will to begin after we agree to meet her in camp. We tell him to save his father, which unlocks both Ravengard and Mazora as an ally after talking to her. But, if you remember the rules, I need to finish every companion quest. I finished Astarion's quest by killing Cazador, Shadowheart because she's dead, Gale because I gave him the book, but the whole quest is reading and no one wants to do that. Jihir and Halsin's quests are already done, and Lae'zel's quest is finished later, which just left Will. If you've completed Will's entire quest, you know what lies at the end of it. something I had completely forgot about until Ravengard reminded me. In order to reach Ansur, we will have to complete the trials after entering the Worm Way through the prison. The first trial just requires us to use one of the Remove Curse scrolls we have to dispel the corrupt judge and complete it. To complete the second trial, I just have to shoot this person named Swelto to pass it. The third one is a chess puzzle, but I suck at chess, so I use lightning to destroy the king piece like everyone else does to complete that challenge. The game broke for some reason and didn't record the final trial, but after getting hit by air jets from the elementals, which isn't an attack, I should know because I used air elementals in previous sections, I cast a Globe of Invulnerability, preventing any of the enemies from attacking me, allowing me to outlast the trial and win. With 89 damage taken, I had the very scary challenge of preparing to fight Ansur. But in my current build, that fight would be completely impossible, so I returned to Withers to respec, making us into a rogue for evasion. The only way we could survive a head-on fight with the dragon. Thanks to the Amulet of Greater Health and the Armor of Agility, we were able to basically get the same health and armor as we had as a ranger. In order to make the fight ever so slightly easier, I equipped the Helm of Grit for a second bonus action, and gathered every explosive I could find, including the rune powder barrels, even the bound one, 13 firework boxes, 17 smoke powder barrels, and 70 fireworks. After getting Warding Bond from another character, and getting into position, I interacted with Ansur's corpse, and the fight began. I disengaged and used all of my movement to get as far away as possible before using a fire arrow to blow up the explosives, which didn't kill him. It also didn't damage me because of my evasion and me being far enough away. The elementals tried to attack me, but with my 29 armor class were very unsuccessful. Ansur charges up his massive AoE attack, which I do not want to happen. I use the Artistry of War scroll, but it does absolutely nothing, while using all of my movement to run away. One of the elementals uses healing vapors on Ansur and the other elemental, wetting them both when Ansur shocks everything. Thankfully, we are far enough away and can get some free hits, reducing him to 0 HP. He does blast us back, but evasion saves us. Unfortunately, in patch 7, he has an ability that gives him 100 extra HP when reduced to 0, and charges his Nova attack. But because he just used it, it cancels out, and the temp HP lasts only one turn, allowing me to kill Ansur on the next one. Screw Will's quest, but it's finally over. With everything I wanted to done in Baldur's Gate, I respec back into Ranger, geared myself up with everything I needed, and headed into the Morphic Pool. I stealth past all the brains and reached Gortash. But come on, Gortash, do you really think I'm gonna let you live? Nope. I equipped the Twist of Fortune and used blood money on him, instantly killing him because of the 40,000 gold in his inventory. With him dead, we try to dominate the brain and fail every check, before the Emperor saves us. We anger the Emperor and he runs away for us only to realize we forgot the hammer at camp. Just kidding, because that's exactly how my previous run ended. But since that run, I remembered not to send the hammer to camp and freed Orpheus. We need Orpheus to become a Mind Flayer so that our dexterity isn't reduced from the transformation. We met up with Voss and he agreed to help us, getting us our final ally. We met with all of our allies, and because I spent so long trying and failing, I'll play out the whole ally segment to prove nothing was missed. Skip ahead to this timestamp to continue.
You helped me once. I figured it's time I paid you back. With magic.
I'm better at crafting steel than wielding it. Your friend here is armored and potion-fueled and ready for battle.
I have marshaled the best the Flaming Fist has to offer. We will fight to the last.
You've unexpected friends. But my debt to you still stands. The Iron Hand Gnome's firepower is yours to command. Just show us where it's needed.
Your safety is of paramount importance, citizen. My services are at your disposal.
The Moon Maiden's silver light is a shield in dark times. Today, it is mine to wield.
And I hold her sword.
Whatever strength I have to lend, I will lend it. I will make my city proud again.
Did you think I was gonna let you have all the fun? Mole looks out for her friends. Mind flayers included. And she'll have your back. Trust me.
You carried me once, friend. And now, I'll carry you.
You can count on me, little rabbit, and your squiddy friend. I thirst for the hunt.
I made some improvements to Ramesses' arcane artillery. Give the word and the sky falls on any who stand in your way.
I'm in the mood to crack some skulls after that fuckery in the Temple of Baal. The City Watch will be glad to oblige me.
Not sure what I have to offer a mind flare, if I'm honest. But I hope my words of encouragement and reassurance will strengthen your resolve.
The journey has been brutal, but I stand here a Hell Rider once more, and I would die a proud man if I died this day.
I have gathered Lady Shah's faithful. They wait in the shadows for your order.
The Blood Goddess tribute. The Kuatar answer the call!
Congratulations, Petal. You've got a hag on your side. And if that doesn't save your arse, nothing can.
I want my city back. And I've brought the toughest bastards from the guild to get the job done. My people have never hunted a monster this large. They are eager to join the fray.
All the strength of the lands we healed flows through me, and from me to you. And whatever company you keep.
I wouldn't miss this for all the souls in the city. Call my name, and I'll bring the hellfire.
Nature's servant awaits.
We rallied the allies, chugged invisibility potions to skip all the battles and the gauntlet, and reached the brainstem. I made sure to summon as many creatures as possible and have Orpheus' Shield of Thralls all of them, except me, before we ascended the brain. Because of the Amulet of Greater Health, we have 59 HP left, with 89 damage taken. I dropped a Global Invulnerability Scroll and drank a Haste Potion, summoning both the Steel Watcher and Yrgir. They are primarily to tank the magic missiles from the Mind Flayers, because they're able to instantly hit any target without an attack roll. They themselves are able to do massive damage to any target. We take out the single Dream Guardian and have Orpheus cast the scroll to protect me from damage, before Mind Blasting to stun the Emperor and the Dragon. The Mind Flayers target the Summons and the Steel Watcher, but the Crown is the most dangerous enemy, dealing 10d8 force damage to the closest creature. Yrgir is able to blow up one of the Mind Flayers, and on our next turn, we summon the Hell Riders and the Sharans, the latter of which turned out to be basically useless. Our allies begin eliminating the Mind Flayers and whittling down the Emperor. On our third turn, we summon our loyal worshippers of Koatoa and Sahuagin, and the City Watch, before flying in the direction of the Crown, staying far away enough as to not get targeted by it. Orpheus was able to get up into the Crown, but I held him off, as I realized my haste was about to run out. If I had Orpheus cast a spell, he would enter the brain while I was lethargic, meaning I would have one less turn to defeat it. I also forgot that the Berserker Helm would proc because I hadn't dealt any damage, dealing 1 damage to me. It didn't proc in the previous rounds because I was in an area that made me invincible. The Mind Flayers and the Dragon targeted my allies, buying enough time for me to reach the portal and Orpheus to open it. Now in the brain, we cast a Globe of Invulnerability and use an Arrow of Aberration Slaying while hasted, causing the brain to retaliate and break my haste. But, because it was both my turn and Orpheus's, it just skips my current turn. Orpheus used Psionic Blast on the brain, giving it psychic immunity on its next turn. On the next turn, I used a Scroll of Disintegrate to bait out the brain quakes, and hasted to use a second one, leaving the brain with only 135 HP. Orpheus placed another Globe of Invulnerability, and on the next turn, I used an Aberration Slaying Arrow to finish the brain off, ending the challenge with 90 damage taken. We destroy the brain and have beaten Baldur's Gate 3 without manual healing. Sadly, some forced rests do exist, but we were able to still survive the game, getting all allies with 58 HP left. I hope, sincerely, that you enjoyed this challenge. Please subscribe with all notifications if you haven't, so you're notified whenever I upload the full movie and other videos. Thank you so much for the support, and feel free to leave a comment down below on your thoughts on the video. See you later.